They say your body has a hidden reset button, one that can clean out old cells, sharpen your mind, and restart your metabolism in just 24 hours. Sounds impossible, right? But some researchers claim that a single day of fasting with olive oil can trigger deep cellular repair, double autophagy, and even stop insulin resistance in its tracks. Autophagy, the process where your body cleans up damaged cells and rebuilds them stronger, has become one of the hottest topics in longevity science. It is the body's natural detox system quietly working to keep you younger, sharper, and more resilient. But here is the twist. Scientists have long believed you needed multiple days of fasting to activate it. Now, new studies suggest that adding one simple ingredient, extra virgin olive in less than a day. That is where the story gets interesting. Olive oil is not just fat. It is rich in compounds called polyphenols that seem to talk directly to your genes, the same genes that control metabolism, inflammation, and even how your cells recycle themselves. Some researchers have found that these bioactive molecules may enhance autophagy while keeping insulin levels stable. That means your body could be burning fat, cleaning cells, and resetting metabolic balance all at the same time. In today's video, we will explore whether this olive oil fast is truly the metabolic miracle people are talking about or just another
Grand Rising, and God bless you. What's going on? What's going on? What a beautiful day it is. The good Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it together. Together. It's going down, y'all. It's going down, right? Because we up. We gonna get in this thing, do what we gotta do. And no need to procrastinate, right? We got the word up there on the screen. What is it? Romans. Y'all see that Romans up there? I don't know if y'all see that Romans. Y'all act like y'all don't see that award. Come on now, I don't be like that. Romans 8, 38, 39 NIV. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any power, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus, our Lord. I couldn't put all that in the chat. I think they just wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me do it, you know. So, but that's the word of the day. God loves us so much, no matter what we do, no matter what we do, no matter what happens. Our love or His love remains there for us. So, you got that kind of love going on. Nothing to do but keep pushing. Into the news. Let's go. What's news? News in today. Ah, 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 ah. Newsing. It was newsing. Okay. So what I saw today, I was expecting to see that yesterday. All right. So if you look right here, we see red photo news coming up at 2:30 for CAD and USD. Category 3 for USD. Category 2 for CAD, meaning we're going to have 2 red folders for CAD and 3 for USD. And in other news, okay, this right here went down. This right here was serious. 7:30 this morning, it was, hey, move, get out the way. All right. TPs, if they didn't have insurance, they just got hit. You was going the wrong direction, and it's just sad, right? So 40 minutes, we have orange folder and red folder for USD. Then at 9 o'clock, we will have more red folder for USD. Actually, one, two, three red folders at at 9 o'clock for USD. And then that's going to be it. They're going to shut this thing down. They're going to leave it with some alignments after that. It's just going to be it's gonna be over for the week, and our week will be complete. So let's get in. Yesterday we did grab us a TP. So hip hip hooray, hip hooray. Or naughty my nature might say hip hop hooray. Y'all didn't hear that. The old man is catching up in me. I said hip hip. Like, the old folks will mess up a rap song in a minute. Skibbity bebop music, what they call it. So y'all talk about me, leave me alone. And we all in the same boat together. But as I was saying, Euro, GBP, and CAD, GBP CAD, we did smash our TPs on those. And we got our TPs for the Ryan, which was great. I'm sorry, not the Ryan, but the Russell. And I was in a trade this morning on the Russell. And it was so serious, y'all. It was so serious. Why so serious? Uh, if you were able to get in and take advantage, because I tried to touch, it's going to get a TP across the top, and come back and smack that thing on the bottom. And it did, just like I told you, just like I tried to tell you. So, futures is home sweet home. Don't know if y'all doing futures or not, or how you feel about it. Maybe too fast for some people, and I can understand that. Uh, we have USD news coming up, so I'm just gonna kind of mess around for a minute, see if I can show y'all what it would look like. So let's just say, you know, um, I'll cancel that. We'll just come out. This will be good. Close that. And then what we're gonna do is just give you an example of what this would look like if you had took a trade. The T, the entry was here. The TP, I think, was about here yesterday, or something like that. So altogether, if you were to take a trade from here to here, and you only did one contract with the Russell, I'll show you what that would look like. And we'll do a buy. Sorry, wrong spot. Do it here. So, you know, so going from here, just measuring the length that we just had, and then just showing you where you would probably be. And that's over $1,000. Yeah, so we can get up a little bit more. I'm just trying to get the length of just moving too much. So up to here was 3,000, but we're not there. Just trying to measure that. Here we go. That's how you do that. That's how you measure that. You measure it like this. You do this, and then you put in a buy. You do a stop, and then you'll do your TP. Okay. So we're gonna measure this from here to there, and then we'll do this from here to there. So roughly $2,000 if with one contract. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. It's not it's not that much. I heard you say it was more than one contract. Okay. I blew it. I blew it. Now it's stuck and it won't move. But either way, it would have been a nice trade, the one contract. And this morning was trading with three contracts and actually uh, caught that whole ride up on the Russell. And I'll show that to you a little later. But let's get in here and let's see what is going down with the market today. Grand rising to you, Tanya. Looking perfect on the attendance side. Looking perfect on the attendance side. Anything in particular you want to look at, Tanya? Let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. I guess I'll go ahead and look at some stuff and then I will come back. I'm gonna go ahead and play this fasting video and then we'll get back.
Another internet myth. You will discover how autophagy actually works inside your cells, what really causes insulin resistance, and why olive oil might act as a unique signal to speed up cellular repair. We will look at the science, real studies, not rumors, and uncover how fasting and olive oil could work together in a way most people have never heard of. Stay with me till the end, because we are also breaking down the possible downsides and myths surrounding this method. Many influencers promote it as a quick detox, but the truth is more nuanced. You will learn when this strategy could be beneficial, who should avoid it, and how to use fasting safely without hurting your metabolism. By the time you finish watching, you will know exactly how your body reacts when you mix fasting with healthy fats and whether that single day could truly reset your system. And here is the part that may surprise you most. Olive oil might do more than support autophagy. It may also shield your cells from oxidative stress, improve your gut health, and even enhance brain function. These hidden benefits make it far more than a simple kitchen ingredient. It could be one of nature's most underrated metabolic tools. So stay tuned, because what you are about to learn may completely change the way you think about fasting and food. Welcome to our channel where we uncover real science behind viral health trends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next deep dive into how your body truly works. Autophagy is one of the body's most powerful survival tools, a built-in cleaning system that works quietly inside every cell. The word literally means self-eating, but it is not as scary as it sounds. It is how your cells remove old, damaged, or useless parts and recycle them into new, healthy components. Think of it as a repair crew that never sleeps, constantly scanning for broken pieces, clearing out the waste, and rebuilding what is needed to keep your body running efficiently. Without this process, cells would fill up with junk, energy would drop, and the aging process would speed up. This cleanup mechanism matters more than most people realize. When autophagy works well, your cells stay youthful and flexible. They produce energy efficiently, fight off inflammation, and keep your metabolism in balance. But when it slows down, damaged proteins begin to pile up. Energy production weakens and the body becomes more vulnerable to disease. Research links poor autophagy to faster aging, memory decline, and even insulin resistance, the condition where cells stop responding properly to insulin and blood sugar levels rise. In other words, strong autophagy does not just help you live longer, it helps you live.
All right, we're gonna lock this one right here for you, Chef. Doing a sell stop on you, Chef. Sell stop it. Stop it, you, Chef. Go ahead and put these numbers in real quick for y'all to see. So for those of you that can't see, say it right. Don't mess it up. All right. So your entry is going to be 0.79382. Okay. All right. TP. is going to be, that's going to be 0.79 275. All right, let's get back to it.
Better by maintaining metabolic stability. Under normal circumstances, autophagy stays relatively quiet. It is triggered when your body faces stress, especially the kind that comes from nutrient deprivation. When you fast or go without food for several hours, insulin levels drop and energy sensors inside your cells switch on. They recognize that resources are limited, and to survive, the body begins recycling what it already has. Old proteins, damaged mitochondria, and waste material are broken down and reused as fuel. This process not only saves energy but also cleans the internal environment, allowing new, stronger cells to take shape. Fasting is not the only trigger. Exercise, temperature stress, and certain plant compounds can also activate autophagy. Even brief periods of low insulin or reduced calorie intake are enough to start the process. It is like your body saying, time to clean house. And when it does, you feel the difference: clearer thinking, better digestion, and more stable energy. The connection between autophagy and insulin is particularly important. When this repair system slows, cells become cluttered and stop responding to insulin properly. The pancreas then produces more insulin to compensate, which eventually leads to resistance. But when autophagy runs smoothly, cells stay sensitive, insulin levels drop naturally, and metabolic health improves. This is why fasting has become such a major focus in modern science. It taps directly into this natural cellular repair cycle. Autophagy stands at the center of longevity, energy balance, and disease prevention, operating quietly behind the scenes every day to keep your system clean, efficient, and young from the inside out. Insulin resistance begins quietly. Long before most people realize something is wrong, it happens when your cells stop responding properly to insulin, the hormone responsible for helping glucose move from your bloodstream into your cells for energy. When this sensitivity weakens, sugar starts to build up in the blood instead of being used for fuel. The pancreas senses this and tries to fix it by producing more insulin, but over time that only makes the problem worse. The body ends up stuck in a cycle of high insulin and high blood sugar, and this imbalance can silently damage nearly every system in your body. The effects reach far beyond simple weight gain. Elevated insulin keeps your body in a constant fat storing mode, making it harder to lose weight even with strict dieting. It can lead to fatigue, cravings for carbs and sweets, and increased inflammation. Over time, insulin resistance can evolve into prediabetes, metabolic syndrome, or full-blown type 2 diabetes. It also affects hormones, liver function, and even brain health. Some experts now call it metabolic chaos because it disrupts so many processes at once: energy production, hunger control, and the body's ability to burn fat efficiently. But what many people do not realize is that insulin resistance is not just about diet or inactivity, it is also about how well your cells clean themselves. This is where autophagy plays a crucial role. When the cell's cleanup system slows down, damaged proteins and malfunctioning mitochondria start to accumulate. These defects interfere with how insulin signals are received inside the cell. It is like static in a communication line. The message from insulin cannot get through clearly. Over time, this cellular clutter makes the body less responsive, forcing the pancreas to push out more insulin to achieve the same effect. Strong autophagy helps break this pattern by removing damaged components and renewing energy systems. Cells stay more sensitive to insulin's message. When autophagy is suppressed, often due to overeating, constant snacking, or chronic stress, insulin resistance builds silently. The body becomes less efficient at managing energy, and excess glucose turns into stored fat. Even sleep deprivation and inflammation can worsen the issue because both suppress autophagy and keep insulin levels chronically high. The relationship between insulin resistance and autophagy is a two-way street. Poor autophagy promotes resistance, and resistance further blocks autophagy. Breaking this loop often requires giving your body a rest from constant feeding, allowing those internal repair systems to wake up. When the cleanup crew starts working again, insulin sensitivity naturally improves and the body regains its balance. Olive oil is far more than a kitchen ingredient. It is a complex blend of natural compounds that work together to protect and heal the body. At its core are monounsaturated fats, mainly oleic acid, which form the foundation of its health benefits. Oleic acid is known for its stability and resistance to oxidation, which helps reduce inflammation and supports heart and metabolic health. Unlike the unstable fats found in processed oils, the fats in olive oil interact gently with your body's cells, helping improve the structure of cell membranes and supporting smoother communication between them. This in turn helps the body manage insulin more effectively and maintain balanced energy levels. Beyond its healthy fats, olive oil is rich in phenolic compounds, powerful plant chemicals with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. These include hydroxytyrosol, oleuropein, and tyrosol, which are unique to extra virgin olive oil. They act like microscopic shields, protecting your cells from oxidative stress and reducing the kind of chronic inflammation that leads to metabolic dysfunction. Scientists have discovered that these compounds can influence enzymes and signaling pathways that regulate how your body burns fat, processes sugar, and repairs damaged tissues. The more natural and unrefined the oil, the higher the content of these bioactive molecules, which explains why cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil always performs best in research. Antioxidants play another critical role. Every day, the body generates free radicals, unstable molecules that can damage cells if left unchecked. The antioxidants in olive oil, including vitamin E and various polyphenols, neutralize these radicals before they cause harm. This protection is especially important for the pancreas and liver, two organs central to insulin production and glucose regulation. By reducing oxidative damage in these tissues, olive oil helps them stay sensitive to insulin and prevents the chain reaction that leads to metabolic imbalance. Animal and human studies have repeatedly shown that regular consumption of olive oil improves insulin sensitivity, lowers fasting glucose, and reduces inflammation markers. In animal experiments, olive oil helped restore normal insulin signaling and decreased liver fat. In human trials, people who included olive oil as their main fat source had better blood sugar control and improved cholesterol profiles compared to those consuming refined vegetable oils. Some studies even show that replacing just a small portion of dietary saturated fat with olive oil can have measurable effects on metabolic health in a matter of weeks. The influence of olive oil extends even deeper into gene expression. The polyphenols and fatty acids in olive oil can switch certain genes on or off, especially those that regulate inflammation, fat metabolism, and oxidative stress. In simpler terms, olive oil communicates directly with your DNA, helping the body produce more protective proteins while suppressing those that trigger inflammation and insulin resistance. This ability to fine-tune genetic activity is part of why olive oil plays such a unique role in maintaining long-term metabolic balance and cellular health. Olive oil fasting is a concept that blends traditional fasting with the strategic use of small amounts of extra virgin olive oil during the fasting period. In practice, it usually means consuming water and a limited dose of pure olive oil, often a tablespoon or two spread across the day instead of eating solid food. The idea is to give the digestive system a rest while still supplying the body with essential fats that do not significantly raise insulin levels. For many, it feels easier than a complete water fast because the healthy fats from olive oil help reduce hunger, stabilize energy, and prevent the lightheadedness that sometimes comes from going without food. People who follow this approach believe that combining olive oil with fasting may enhance autophagy, the body's cellular cleanup process, while simultaneously protecting against the stress that fasting can create. The logic is based on synergy. Fasting lowers insulin and activates autophagy naturally by putting cells under mild nutrient stress. Olive oil, on the other hand, brings in bioactive compounds such as polyphenols and oleic acid, which are known to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. Together, these effects might allow the body to maintain energy balance and support deeper cellular renewal without triggering an insulin spike. Some researchers suggest that olive oil may act like a signal amplifier, helping fasting-related pathways like AMPK and mTOR operate more efficiently, which are both key regulators of autophagy and metabolism. This combination has attracted attention because it offers a middle ground, fasting without total deprivation. People who struggle with strict fasting find olive oil fasting more sustainable, as the fats provide a mild sense of fullness while keeping insulin low enough to preserve the fasting benefits. Advocates also point to studies showing that polyphenols in olive oil can mimic certain fasting effects by influencing gene expression related to longevity, oxidative defense, and fat metabolism. These overlapping pathways have led some to claim that fasting with olive oil can double autophagy and quickly improve insulin sensitivity, sometimes within just a single day. However, it is important to note that this claim remains largely theoretical. So far, there are no large human trials showing that olive oil fasting can truly double autophagy or reverse insulin resistance in 24 hours. Most evidence comes from small-scale studies, animal research, and indirect observations of fasting and olive oil used separately. While both individually support cellular health, the idea of them multiplying each other's effects is still under investigation. Scientists caution that results seen in lab settings or short-term fasting experiments do not always translate directly to humans. The concept remains intriguing, but it needs more clinical evidence before being considered proven science. Fasting is one of the most reliable ways to activate autophagy, the body's built-in repair system. When food is unavailable and nutrients run low, insulin levels drop, and cellular energy sensors detect a mild form of stress. This shift tells the body to conserve resources by cleaning house, recycling damaged proteins, clearing out old cell parts, and using stored fat for fuel. The decrease in insulin and glucose levels acts as a signal that pushes cells into survival mode. Instead of focusing on growth, they turn inward to repair and renew themselves. This is why fasting periods, even short ones, are often linked with improved cellular health and metabolic efficiency. The body becomes more sensitive to insulin and better at balancing energy because the internal waste has been cleared out. Olive oil seems to enhance this process in several ways. Its natural compounds, including polyphenols and antioxidants, protect cells while autophagy is happening. Polyphenols like hydroxytyrosol and oleuropein are known to activate pathways related to longevity and cellular cleanup, similar to the effects seen in fasting itself. They reduce oxidative stress, prevent the accumulation of damaged molecules, and help mitochondria, the cell's energy factories, function more efficiently. These actions create a cleaner environment for autophagy to unfold, ensuring that the body's repair system can work without being overwhelmed by free radicals. The antioxidants in olive oil also shield the membranes of cells from damage, reducing inflammation that might otherwise interfere with healthy regeneration. On a deeper level, olive oil can influence how cells respond to insulin. Studies show that the monounsaturated fats and polyphenols in olive oil can improve insulin receptor signaling, meaning the cell becomes better at recognizing and responding to insulin's signal to taking glucose. This helps regulate blood sugar and prevents the chronic high insulin state that blocks autophagy. Olive oil also supports the pancreas by protecting the bad cells that produce insulin, keeping them functional for longer. In addition, it reduces inflammatory markers throughout the body, which is crucial because inflammation often disrupts insulin activity and leads to resistance over time. The combination of fasting and olive oil seems to create a unique balance. Fasting lowers insulin and glucose, opening the door for autophagy to begin. Olive oil, when used in small amounts, supplies gentle energy without spiking insulin, helping the process continue smoothly. Its bioactive compounds reinforce the benefits of fasting by calming inflammation and providing protection at the cellular level. However, moderation is key. Olive oil still contains calories, and using too much can interrupt the fasting state. Small, measured doses, typically a teaspoon or two, may complement the process, but larger amounts could trigger digestion and stop autophagy prematurely. Finding this balance determines whether olive oil becomes a true ally or a distraction in the fasting process. Animal and cell studies paint a promising picture. In rodents, adding olive oil to the diet often improves insulin signaling in muscle and liver. Animals fed olive oil show lower fasting glucose and better glucose tolerance compared with those fed saturated fats. In cell experiments, exposure to olive oil polyphenols reduces markers of inflammation and protects mitochondria from damage. These cellular protections make insulin pathways work more smoothly. Several lab studies report reduced fat accumulation in the liver and improved markers of metabolic health after olive oil interventions. Researchers also see upregulation of genes linked to fat burning and antioxidant defenses in treated cells and tissues. Human trials add supportive but more mixed evidence. Short-term supplementation studies report modest drops in fasting glucose, lower fasting insulin, and improved cholesterol when participants replace other fats with extra virgin olive oil. Some trials show better post-meal blood sugar control and reduced inflammatory markers. Larger Mediterranean diet trials that emphasize olive oil also link the pattern to lower rates of metabolic syndrome, yet human results vary by dose, oil quality, and participant health. Limitations are clear. Most strong effects come from longer exposures, not a single day. Animal models sometimes show contradictory outcomes when daily intake is excessive over time, and individual response can differ widely based on genetics, microbiome, and baseline metabolic state. A typical olive oil fast day is built around simplicity and control. It begins much like a standard fast with a focus on water, rest, and allowing the digestive system to stay quiet. The only addition is small, carefully measured doses of extra virgin olive oil throughout the day. Some people take 1 teaspoon every few hours, while others use 1 to 2 tablespoons spread across morning, midday, and late afternoon. The goal is not to feed the body, but to give it minimal fuel in the form of healthy fats that do not disrupt insulin levels. This small amount of fat can help calm hunger, maintain stable energy, and make fasting more comfortable for beginners who struggle with complete food abstinence. Timing plays a role as well. Many choose to start the day with water.
Right, all right. Eurocad, buy stop, Eurocad, buy stop. Eurocad, buy stop. 2 minutes into opening bell. The bell opened 2 minutes ago. We should have news dropping shortly. Entry is going to be 1.63167. 1.63167. And TP is going to be 1.63279. 632.79 in your FM dial.
And delay the first spoon of olive oil until several hours into the fast, allowing insulin levels to drop first. The oil should always be consumed slowly, sometimes mixed with a little warm water or lemon to make it easier to take. During the fast, hydration remains crucial. Plain water, mineral water, or unsweetened electrolytes help maintain balance and prevent fatigue. The total daily intake of olive oil usually stays between 2 and 4 tablespoons, depending on body size and experience level, but moderation is essential to avoid breaking the fasting benefits. However, olive oil fasting is not suitable for everyone. People with diabetes, low blood pressure, gallbladder issues, or digestive disorders should be cautious or avoid it entirely unless supervised by a healthcare professional. Pregnant or breastfeeding women, those on medications affecting blood sugar, and individuals recovering from illness should not attempt it without medical approval. Fasting alters how the body processes nutrients and medication, and olive oil can change absorption rates, making self-experimentation risky for some. For those who are healthy and experienced with fasting, a few simple rules make the process safer. Always use high-quality cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, since refined versions lack the polyphenols and antioxidants responsible for the proposed benefits. Keep the quantity small and avoid mixing it with other foods, sweeteners, or caffeine-heavy drinks. Staying hydrated, maintaining electrolyte balance, and avoiding strenuous exercise help the body stay in repair mode rather than stress mode. Despite the growing interest, this approach remains a theoretical practice. There is no clinical validation confirming that adding olive oil to a fast amplifies autophagy or resets insulin function within a single day. It remains an experimental idea grounded more in logic and early research than in proven medical evidence. The concept of combining olive oil with fasting sits in an interesting place between traditional wisdom and emerging science. Researchers and health enthusiasts alike find the idea intriguing because both fasting and olive oil on their own have well-documented benefits for metabolism and cellular repair. Fasting pushes the body into a state of renewal, while olive oil provides compounds that seem to support and protect cells during that process. The theory that these two could work together in synergy makes sense at a biological level, but so far the evidence remains limited. Most studies examine them separately, not as a combined practice, and the few that do tend to be animal or laboratory-based rather than large human trials. That is why it is important to approach the topic with curiosity, but also with caution. The science points toward potential, not certainty. While olive oil fasting might enhance autophagy or improve insulin sensitivity, no credible research has yet confirmed that it can double these effects or reset the body in a single day. Every person's metabolism is unique, and factors like genetics, diet history, stress, and sleep all influence how the body responds to fasting. Overpromising results or treating this as a miracle fix can lead to disappointment or even harm if someone ignores their body's warning signs. For those who want to explore it safely, a more measured approach works best. Treat it as an experiment rather than a guaranteed solution. Keep track of how your body responds by noting measurable indicators such as fasting glucose, blood pressure, energy levels, and overall mood. Observing changes in hunger, focus, or sleep patterns can also offer valuable insights. These small data points help you understand whether the practice supports your well-being or causes unnecessary stress. Working with a healthcare professional or using simple home testing tools can add structure to the process. Curiosity should guide exploration, but self-awareness must set the limits. This method has promise, but it is still waiting for rigorous evidence to confirm exactly how powerful the fasting and olive oil combination can be. Until then, it is best treated as a thoughtful experiment, one rooted in observation and respect for the body's natural rhythms rather than blind enthusiasm. So in the end, the idea of olive oil fasting sits at a fascinating crossroads, part science, part theory, and part curiosity. The claim that it can double autophagy and stop insulin resistance in just one day is bold, but the real evidence is limited. What we do know is that both fasting and olive oil individually support cellular repair, reduce inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. Whether combining them truly amplifies those effects remains to be proven. It is a promising concept, but one that needs more careful study before anyone can call it fact. Still, it opens up an exciting conversation about how we can use food and timing together to unlock deeper health benefits. Have you ever tried fasting with olive oil, or would you consider experimenting with it under safe conditions? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Your insights could help others who are curious about this approach. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more evidence-based explorations of bold nutritional...
All right. It's olive oil. There's your olive oil right there. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Hmm, 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 hmm. So I know this is another one that's probably a good one. A lot of people deal with blood pressure problems. And not to say this is a fix, but just gonna see what's
their
going
blood
on.
pressure faster than anyone thought possible. People in their 50s, 60s, and even 70s are lowering their blood pressure faster than anyone thought possible, using simple tools their doctors just forgot to mention. Every point your blood pressure goes up, your arteries age faster, and this gets you closer to a heart attack or a stroke, especially a stroke. That's why in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 10 proven natural strategies to lower your blood pressure, proven by evidence and by experience. These are the methods I use with my patients, and that helps them reverse their numbers and heal their arteries and heal their hearts. But I'm not just going to list them. We'll answer the following questions. How effective are these methods? Can they replace medications? How do you execute them the right way? But also, along the way, I'll share stories from real patients who use these exact strategies to lower their blood pressure, regain their energy, avoid prescriptions they thought they'd have to use for life, but will change their names to protect their privacy. So if high blood pressure is something you're dealing with, even slightly high, don't skip this, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's been keeping your numbers high, and more importantly, how to keep them down for good.
And by the way, we discussed that in our new free ebook. If you'd like to get a copy, just go to the description of the video, get the link, and download it now.
Strategy number 1.
Stop risking your own money trading.
Or intermittent fasting. Let me tell you about somebody we'll call Susan. She's 61 years old, works part-time at a local library, and lives alone. And for years, her blood pressure hovered around 145 over 90, sometimes higher. Her doctor kept offering newer prescriptions, newer drugs, more drugs. But she was already on 2 medications and really didn't want to have to take a third. When Susan came to see us, she wasn't overeating. She wasn't really sedentary either, but she did have a late-night snacking habit. She didn't think much about it. Crackers while reading, toast before bed. So we made this one change. She stopped eating after 4 p.m. She kept breakfast around 8 p.m., not earlier. Nothing extreme. This was just an 8-hour eating window. Within a month, her blood pressure dropped below 135 systolic, just by one small change. So, how effective is time-restricted eating for blood pressure? It's very effective. And here's why. That small change made such a big difference. When you eat matters almost as much as what you eat. You see, late-night meals keep your insulin levels elevated overnight. But when insulin stays high, your body holds on to sodium. Your blood vessels stay constricted, and your blood pressure doesn't come down like it should during sleep. But by tightening your eating window, especially towards the earlier part of the day, slowing down or decreasing that eating in the evening, you give your system a real chance to reset. Insulin
All right, we are in on EuroCat. We did have a little profit, but maybe they'll bring it back. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So, what do we have here? We have the word coming up. We also have something I want to show y'all earlier when I was talking to you about. But before we do that, let's do the word. Okay. Romans 8:38. Romans 8:38. NIV 8:38-9 NIV. For I am confident that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither present nor the future, nor any power, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the Lord, from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. Now imagine it's got two wooden blocks, let's say that, and they're glued together with something stronger than super glue or even gorilla glue, right? This would be more like King Kong glue. So stronger than any glue in the world. Once the glue is set and it's bonded, it's unbreakable. You could try to pull it apart. You could even drop it. But these two blocks remain stuck together. You could even put them in water. You could soak them in water. But you'll find out that these two blocks are stuck forever. Now, this verse, right, this amazing verse tells us that God's love for us, which we only have through Jesus, it's like that super glue. Bonded, but infinity strong. And in this verse here, the writer is basically making a list of all the most powerful things that he could think of. He mentioned some scary things. He mentioned, death and demons, things that are present, time, future, and even space, height and depth. And he said that nothing on the list or anything else in all of creation is strong enough to break this bond that is God's love for us. So just know that nothing can separate you from him. A lot of times people will do stuff and we'll say, if we want to get our life together, we're going to go to church and start praying to God once we get our life together. Well, God still loves us in our mess. Still loves us in our mess. So you don't have to wait. He'll take you just the way you are. If your kids fail and got boo-boo on their hand and bird flew by and pooped right in their head, whatever. If they fail in the pig pen and all the mud and boo-boo and food, you would still love your child. You wouldn't say, I'm not going to love you until you get clean. God loves us in our mess, just like that. So let us pray. God, thank you for loving us. Thank you for this love that is so strong and unbreakable. It makes me feel incredibly safe to know that there's nothing that I can do, nothing that has happened to me can ever separate me from your love. So help me to rest in your amazing super glue, King Kong glue love today. Amen. All right. Here we go. So now we could get back into checking out our blood pressure. Oh, I did say I wanted to show y'all something. Let me see. Oh, let's see. I don't think I really got a really, really, really good shot. I think this may be good enough for some of you to probably understand. Turn around, and every now and then. Uh-oh, trading view's going on. Chef is pulling back. This is what that red photo news did. Entry. Okay. Crazy. Just say that. It was crazy. All right, so back to the show.
Comes down, inflammation drops, and your arteries get the signal to relax. A new 2025 systemic review looked at this closely. So this was 15 clinical trials, totaling about 1,000 people. They were overweight or obese, and the results were consistent. Systolic pressure dropped by over 4 points. Diastolic pressure had a more modest drop of around 2. It might not sound like much, but for people like Susan, who'd already tried everything else, it finally gave her body a chance to respond. But not everyone needs to fast all day. This doesn't require skipping meals. But if you're eating from early morning until late at night, Your body never gets a break. Here's the key question. Can intermittent fasting replace medications? In the case of Susan, more intervention was needed. Some of the ones we'll discuss today. But for some people in early stages that are taking just one medication, intermittent fasting can be the difference between taking medications, more medications, or managing this in a natural way. And for someone who's not on any medications, again, this can make the difference between medications and not. We have established how effective intermittent fasting can be, but let's explain how to do it the right way. Here's the simplest protocol. Eating in an 8-hour window, also known as a 16-8 window. Eat between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Don't eat between 12 noon and 8 p.m. A lot of people want to do that, and that's really better than doing nothing. It's clearly better than eating from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. But 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is better than 12 noon to 8 p.m. It gives our body that chance to rest and recuperate and heal without insulin on board while we're asleep. Either one of those gives you a 16-hour overnight non-eating window. Prolonged fasting over 24 hours is actually very good for you, and it can really reset your metabolism. But it's hard, and it's hard to get used to. A lot of people really back off from that. If you can successfully make it through, then good. But get to a pattern, an intermittent fasting pattern like a 16-8 that you can tolerate and make what you do every day. The most important piece is to be consistent. It's got to be something you can be consistently doing every day of every week. These changes work better over time. It's part of a lifestyle change. Once or twice is just not going to get you there. But the 16-8 is not the only protocol. There are other options that can be helpful, including OMAD. Have you ever heard of that? 1 meal a day. Or prolonged fasting. As I mentioned, those are good as well. But you've got to be able to do something on a regular basis. Now, obviously, you're not going to do prolonged fasting all day, every day, week after week, month after month. But try prolonged fasting 1 day a week for week after week. It can be a game changer. These interventions require being careful, no overeating when refeeding. Okay, now let's go to number 2. Strategy number 2, low carbohydrate eating, very low carb diet. Let me tell you about Carlos. He's 58. He works construction. He's been battling his blood pressure for over a decade. He already gave up sugary foods like pastries and cookies, and he cut down on soda. He even started walking after dinner, but his numbers just barely moved. By the time he came to see us, he was taking 2 medications, and his doctor had just recommended a 3rd. Now, Carlos had a big appetite. Sandwiches for lunch, a big plate of rice for dinner, things he thought were harmless. But we ran some deeper tests and found he was already insulin resistant, borderline diabetic. So instead of lowering sodium, like the DASH diet recommends, we changed something else, something more foundational. We helped him shift his meals away from the starches he'd grown used to. Okay, you can eat that sandwich, just don't eat the bread. And yes, you can have the meat and rice, but just don't eat the rice. That took him a little bit of time. We didn't cut everything, we just cut the carbs. And we didn't do it all overnight. That would have been too much of a crash for Carl, but we just had him do that a little bit every day. And within about a month, Carlos was low carb dieting. And he was comfortable. It wasn't a diet for him. It was what he ate, the style that he ate. By building meals around proteins like eggs or fish and adding healthy fats and choosing vegetables that wouldn't spike his blood pressure, Carlos got to where he needed to be. And it didn't take long. Within about 4 weeks, his blood pressure dropped below 135/85. Within 4 months, he had lost nearly 20 pounds, cut his medications for blood pressure in half. And here's what matters. You see, most high blood pressure starts with metabolic dysfunction or prediabetes. Again, that's so common. 90% of it has just not been diagnosed by patients because it has not been diagnosed by their doctors. And that's because 3/4 of doctors really don't know how to diagnose it. So, what's the fastest way to reverse that metabolic disease? Stop spiking insulin all day. That's what a low-carb diet does, especially when you keep carbs under 100 grams a day. But we're not just guessing here. You may think, oh, that's all theoretical. I just came up with that. No, look at this study. It was 2023 randomized clinical trial. It looked at people just like Carlos, overweight, high blood pressure, early diabetes, and they compared 2 diets, a very low carb plan versus the standard DASH diet or low sodium diet that most doctors recommend. Here are the results after 4 months. The low-carb diet dropped their systolic blood pressure by nearly 10 points. That's huge. Nearly 10 points. The DASH diet group dropped their blood pressure as well, but just over 5, half that. So, can these kind of diets replace medications? Of course they can. I've seen it happen over and over again. People not having to go on medications because they went on a low-carb diet and lost a few pounds. It happens all the time. So for some people, there's no question this can replace medications, especially those with early-stage hypertension, high blood pressure, who are insulin resistant, like Carlos. This doesn't mean cutting carbs for a week and calling it a day and say, okay, I'm done. It's a shift in how you eat. Carlos has kept the carbs off. He's kept those 20 pounds off. And that's what got him where he needed to be. It's a shift in how you eat, one that quiets the metabolic engine behind rising blood pressure. So how do you do that the right way? Start by dialing back on the starches that sneak into every meal. Things like white rice, sandwich bread, like Carlos did, baked goods, even certain healthy cereals. They all add up fast. Instead of, just think of this, any grain product, be very, very afraid. Also be very concerned about using the government MyPlate because it still builds on carbs. Unfortunately, the majority of people that are eating MyPlate style, recommended by the government, have undiagnosed metabolic disease. And unfortunately, they don't know that. So instead of building your plate around starches, breads, grain products, potatoes, build your plate around protein, fish, chicken, eggs, and fill it in with greens, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and don't fear fat. It keeps you full, and it helps stabilize your insulin. Some people do better with strict keto. Others do better with moderate low carb, under 75 grams a day. I vacillate between the two. For most of my early years, when I had dropped my carbs, it was more of 100 grams a day or less of carbs. And I was very, very physically active. More recently, I've gotten to lower carbs and sometimes probably half the week, less than 50 grams a day, sometimes even less than 30 grams a day. But you get used to it as you continue to change your low carb diet. As you continue to knock out, okay, I don't have to have that rice. I don't really need to have these crackers. As you continue to knock out more and more of those glycemic carbs. What matters most, as you can see, is consistency. In fact, any diet that has less sugar than the standard American diet will have beneficial effects. Even some versions of the Mediterranean diet or even DASH diet, all of these can help, but not the way you think and not really the way they were proposed to you. They were proposed to you with the assumption that you were going to be eating grains or carb products because they were proposed to you with the assumption that you didn't have any metabolic disease. So assume that you do and then just go ahead and start taking those sources of carbs out of your diet. Now, let's move on to the next strategy. This one has a lot to do with key interventions to lower blood pressure. Strategy number 3, weight loss. Now, let me introduce you to Malcolm. He's 57, runs a hardware store in a small town, and for the past decade, he'd been stuck in a frustrating loop. Every year, his blood pressure edged higher. 138, then 142, then 148, all over 92. So his systolic was climbing. His diastolic was a little bit high, not too bad, but it was stuck at that 92 level. Every year, his doctor suggested cutting sodium, taking another medication, maybe trying to lose some weight. But Malcolm had already tried. He cut carbs, he went on walks, he even joined a gym once. But the scale just didn't move for Malcolm, and neither did his blood pressure. So when he came to see us, we changed the conversation. Instead of pushing weight loss as the goal, we made blood pressure the target and used weight as a tool to get there. It may sound a little bit, just hang on. Malcolm started a structured program focused on metabolic flexibility, time-restricted eating, low insulin load meals, and resistance training 3 times a week. Then we started asking him to get some exercise snacks in between those resistance training sessions. Just simple things like one-legged step squats on the stairs, calf raises on the stairs. He didn't count every calorie. He didn't obsess over the scale. But over the next 3 months, he successfully dropped over 20 pounds. And a lot of those pounds, he actually did better than that when you look at his body composition, because a lot of pounds of fat pounds were replaced by muscle pounds. He changed 3.5 points on his BMI. That's what changed. His systolic pressure fell by nearly 9 points. Diastolic dropped by more than 4, down to about 87, 86. And his morning readings were consistently
Well, 2 after, no, major change in what we're looking at here. Still consolidating on Euro CAD. We're looking strong, we pushing up. USD chef over here. It's looking like, it can still be pushing down. So, but here comes the weekend, right? And sometimes this hold off and plays around until Tuesday. So, that being said, I'm going to get up out of here, let y'all go. You enjoy your weekend. Tanya, thank you very much for watching. All right. And we'll be talking to you sooner than later. Just want to say God bless you. Take care. Keep your head up. Focus. And remember, action.